In this video, you will learn 8 tips to make your long distance relationship great. And they're all based on psychological science. So if you're currently in a long distance relationship, or if you're thinking about that possibility, then this is the video for you. Don't go anywhere because we're starting right now. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Antonio Borrello and I'm a psychologist and a relationship coach. This channel is all about helping you build great relationships so you can grow happy with the people you love. So if you're interested in making your love life the best part of your life, start now by clicking the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you aren't missing anything. Okay, on to our topic, tips for an amazing long distance relationship. There are 2 types of long distance relationships. First, there are relationships that start traditionally, and then one partner has to relocate temporarily and the relationship has a period of time where it becomes long distance. But the second type is a relationship that starts off as a long distance relationship from the beginning. Now, the first one is easy to understand, but what about the long distance relationship that starts off that way? Why do couples do it? Well, simply put, when you meet someone whose presence changes your life, someone you feel so connected to physically and emotionally and spiritually, you won't even consider not trying to make it work somehow. The feeling is so rare and urgent, you're willing to do whatever it takes to make it work. So if you're in either of these situations, here are the tips to make that relationship amazing. Number 1, believe in your relationship. Unlike with traditional relationships, couples in long-distance relationships are going to deal with family and friends who believe that trying long distance is crazy or that it's not sustainable or it's even heart-wrenching. And in some ways, they have a point. Relationships are hard enough even without dealing with all of the disadvantages of long distance, such as missing the other person or lack of physical contact and expensive traveling to see one another. But when couples believe in their relationship, they report that the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages. For example, a study from Cornell University published in 2013 found that couples in long-distance relationships feel more intimate with their partners than those who live in the same area. They value what little time they have together, during visits and even over the phone, so greatly that they optimize those moments emotionally. Also, long-distance lovers were more accepting of their partner's behavior and felt more committed to each other. In that sense, being in a long-distance relationship can create feelings of relationship security because it's obvious that you are both willing to make it work. So you have to believe in your relationship and believe that you are so fortunate to have found such an amazing connection with your partner. And when you have greater belief in your relationship and more certainty about the future, you'll also have something more concrete to look forward to and to take solace in when times are tough. Number 2, focus on the quality of communication over quantity. Many couples think that they need to compensate for the distance by doing more communicating. So they engage in moment-to-moment texting all day long. But when you do that, it makes it more difficult to enjoy your days because you're constantly wishing you could be together. Plus, your conversations will start to get a little boring and that will make things worse. Instead, focus on intentional quality communications where you really invest in the conversation, and this will create stronger bonds between you both. So if you have daily bedtime conversations, for instance, give a little thought beforehand to the most important parts of your day to talk about. That can help you make sure that the most important intimacy-building conversations are still being had, no matter how far apart you are. And of course, research on long-distance relationships backs this up. According to a 2013 study published in the Journal of Communication, people in long-distance relationships were more likely to share meaningful thoughts and feelings with their partners than those who were not. The study also found that people in long-distance relationships often have stronger bonds from deeper communication than normal relationships. So if you try harder to stay connected and communicating your affection and intimacy, your efforts will certainly pay off in the form of stronger bonds. Number 3, have a long-term plan. Long-distance relationships are much more satisfying and less stressful when they are understood to be temporary. In other words, having a goal of living together at some point in the future makes it much easier to keep your eyes on the prize and easier to work together to get through the tough times. So if you're going to do a long distance relationship, you must have an end in mind, because without a plan, there's no end in sight. If neither of you could see yourself living together in the future, then the relationship has an expiration date from the start. So yeah, both you and your partner should have an end in mind. Like, what do we want to achieve at the end of the day? How long are we going to be apart? What about the future? These are questions that you two need to ask yourselves. So talk about it, make sure you're on the same page, and make a plan for it. That's what university students do. I mean, these relationships work because there's an end date in mind. Upon graduating, they know that they will be together. And if for whatever reason you can't ever be living together, what's the point of the relationship anyway? If there isn't a foreseeable date when the two of you could be living together or close together, you're going to have huge problems in the relationship with no end in sight. Number 4, know each other's schedule. Different time zones and work or school schedules and sleep preferences can make communicating and staying connected much more challenging. That's why knowing each other's schedule is important. It's helpful to know when the other person is busy and when he is free so that you can drop a text or make a call at the right time. You don't want to disturb your partner when he or she is in the middle of class or halfway through a business meeting. So know the small and big events that are taking place in each other's life, such as important meetings or school exams and job interviews. This also gives you another opportunity to support and encourage each other. Number 5, always have the next visit planned. Visits are the highlight of every long-distance relationship. After all the waiting and yearning and abstinence, you finally get to meet each other to fulfill all the little things like kissing and holding hands. These are things that other couples often take for granted, but they can be very special and extra intimate for people in long-distance relationships. It'll be like fireworks. And don't worry about trying to overplan your time together. Many people worry that they must always be doing something extra special and try to make every moment count. But also make sure that you allow yourself some downtime and breathing room because these are the times that are best to build intimacy. So visit as often as possible and make visiting plans as soon as possible. That gives you something concrete to look forward to. Number 6, have patience and trust. When you are wrapped up in your long distance relationship, it's hard to remember that your partner has a whole other life that you don't quite understand, especially in the beginning. They have a job, a social life, and family needs that take up their time. And as much as you'd like to spend hours on the phone with each other, they've got to be on time to work, and so do you. So patience is key in these situations. Of course, you miss your partner and ache to see them and to talk to them, but that ache is exactly what fuels the desire and passion in the relationship. Sometimes that may mean not talking for a day, but when you do, you'll find it's worth the wait. Besides patience, you have to trust each other. One of the biggest challenges for any couple is trust, and that can be an even bigger challenge when you're living far apart. When you're in a long-distance relationship, you are not going to be able to verify what the other person is doing. That simply isn't an option. So you've got to take a leap of faith and trust your partner. So set rules and boundaries and discuss everything that might come up and have a plan to deal with it. Talk about situations that could come up and discuss them and agree upon how you should handle them in advance. Doing this strengthens trust and helps both partners feel more secure. Number 7, embrace your independence and focus on you. Being in a long-distance relationship forces couples to have their own lives because you can't spend 24/7 FaceTiming and Skype calling. And yes, it can be lonely, but you can use that loneliness to motivate you to get stuff done and to focus on your goals. And while you're doing that, you're becoming a stronger and more confident person. Again, focus on the big picture and do things that will be beneficial to you and the relationship in the long run. So pick up some hobbies, make and keep plans with your friends and family, fill up your social calendar, appreciate and nurture your relationship with yourself, and get to know yourself on a deep level. Many people have a tendency to lose themselves in relationships. They start doing everything their partner does, or they change themselves in order for their partner to like them. Now is your chance to truly get to know yourself, the real you, and develop the self-love that will ensure that your relationship is healthy. Number 8, do things together when you're apart. One of the best ways to stay close in a long-distance relationship is to have an activity that you both do together while you're apart. And modern technology such as FaceTime and WhatsApp and video chat allow people to stay connected in ways that were never possible before. So take advantage of these amazing technologies and do things together when you're apart. For example, you could stream and watch a TV show together while you're separate. Or you can play online or mobile games together or against one another. This may require some creativity, but it's so worth it. It creates shared experiences even though you're apart. And you're going to feel a lot more connected than if you just call every day. Whatever it is, the most important thing is that you're doing it together and you do it consistently. By the way, I'd love to know some of the creative things that you've done to stay connected in your long distance relationship. Please leave a comment and let us know. I'm sure there are some great ideas out there. Look, if your relationship has to go long distance for a while, don't despair. While it's hard to be away from each other, your relationship really can't take it. In fact, past research has shown that long distance couples are no more likely to break up than geographically close couples. And remember, relationships are not made in heaven. They take work, whether they are long distance or close distance. It takes both parties working together, and sometimes it's 50-50, sometimes it's 60-40, and other times it's 40-60. But it's all about balancing each other and supporting one another when needed. And speaking of support, I'd love it if you joined our conversations in the comments below. It's awesome to see viewers sharing stories and offering support to one another. It's what makes YouTube great. So please subscribe and let's chat. Oh, and click here to see my latest video, or click here to see a video that YouTube thinks that you'll like. I'll see you in the next video.